Listen, welcome to the
Hey,
narrative method. So happy to see you.
I have been looking forward to this for
Mm,
weeks. I am so happy to be here with you.
me too. Your warmth is just incredible. So there's no surprise that you wrote this book. How did it come about? Tell us about it.
Well, I'm just already going to push back because I co-wrote this book and
Okay.
nothing could have been done without the late, great, wonderful American icon who we all miss and knew, Dr. Ruth Westheimer. So I want to give credit where credit is due. The book came about from the most, I call it a miracle.
Mm,
I was given the assignment of my life by the New York Times to write an article about Dr. Ruth's quest, her mission to be appointed New York State's first ambassador to loneliness. So when I met her, it hadn't happened yet.
mm,
But after a few months of us doing interviews and me reporting about this mission that she was on, she finally got the nod from New York's governor and she was successful. And
wow.
so the article became her successful quest to become this honorary ambassador. And that's how we met. But it was very subject, interviewee, reporter. She was the person who I had to keep arm's length from. We didn't truly connect until the article in the New York Times was published. And then we just decided we wanted to stay in each other's life. I got the Dr. Ruth bug and I
Mm,
wasn't going away.
that's incredible. So what was it like to collaborate?
Well, collaboration is not new to me. I love to work as a team. My background before I turned to writing full time and writing books, this book with Dr. Ruth, The Joy of Connections, is my sixth book.
Wow.
But before I turned to writing full time, my former career was related, but so different. I was a TV news producer.
Oh, wow.
And that is a team sport.
Yeah.
No one can be on TV without multitudes of people working together.
Hmm.
And I became very comfortable learning how to get better from
Mm,
other people, how my writing can be improved by producers and executive producers who were higher up on the rungs of the ladder than I was. And so to me, I love a hard edit. I love the red line. It makes my work stronger. And I don't really have much of an ego when it comes to my prose versus somebody else's prose. At the end of the day, and perhaps I'm going too long-winded for you guys, but at the end of the day, the best writing is what matters.
mm.
And so I just felt like our collaboration made the book better. And it was the honor of my life to work with Dr. Ruth on this book. It was
Wow.
the final, we didn't know it at the time, of course, but it became her final project.
That's just so incredible. And, when you feel like it's just, if not meant to be, just the perfect arrival in your life and in your lap to be able to be part of the vehicle through which this person emerges in a new way. How great. You
Well,
know,
it really is a different way for her to emerge. You know, we maybe collectively know of her talking about sex in a very upfront way, but at the core, if I may say with our adult listeners, at the core of great sex are really good relationships. And so it's not a surprise that she had felt committed to honoring conversation,
mm,
respect, how we look at each other and see each other and validate each other. And so the joy of connections, it's really about how we can make our bonds, whether they are with friends or with lovers. Maybe we want more friends. Maybe we want a different relationship that makes us feel seen. Whatever it is, at the root of Dr. Ruth's work were these connections. And by the way, I will say, you might have thought that when she was 95 and 96 years old, she would have thrown her nose up at online connections. You may have thought wrongly
Mm,
that she would say no phones, no computers. That is not what Dr. Ruth thought. She wanted them to be tools that fuel meaningful connections. And I think that's what you're doing here. So I feel that this is just the perfect opportunity to share her work and about the writing. And I'm just thrilled to be here. So thank you.
thank you. We're so in the same pocket. In fact, I'm going to just leave and make you host. Okay.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
but yeah, I mean, everything that you're talking about is what matters in life to us, whether or not we lay it out like that all the time, because we also have to accomplish certain things in order to pay the rent and deal with relationships and problems and stuff. But at the end of the day, there's only one thing that really feels worth living for everyone, and that is meaningful connections. And that includes being seen and heard from our perspective. So when you were talking about the way that you were working when you were in television news, um, it was so clear that you didn't have to say it, that you're not a person who leads with your ego. And I would doubt that you ever were. And so people who are able to really succeed in such a tough competitive world from being who they really are, that's just so inspiring. And I appreciate that. So I'm just going to throw something at you. What are you doing next after your incredible tour?
Well, you guys, that's a very tough thing to answer because I'm being honest. And Dr. Ruth said the best way to move forward in life is to be authentic and transparent. And right now, my sole focus, without Dr. Ruth here to champion her own book, is to do the best I can to bring the joy of connections out into the world. And
Hey.
so I am going to be pushing and advocating and talking and speaking until the cows come home, because Dr. Ruth can no longer do it for herself. And it's the honor of my life to be able to
Wow.
champion her final project on her behalf. So that's my honest answer. I'm in Dr. Ruth mode. I hope that her lessons reach where they need to land. The Surgeon General of the United States is calling this time that we are in a loneliness epidemic.
Mhm.
So people are hurting, maybe even some people who are with us tonight. And so it's really important for us to, as Dr. Ruth would say, take a look in the mirror.
Mhm.
And if this speaks to you, then you need to raise your hand, figuratively speaking, and use her roadmap, her book, as a path forward. Because that's what she wanted. You know, she was always direct, straightforward, no euphemisms, to the point, tough love. And the book is 100 ideas to get you out of your head and
Nice.
able to make relationships. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm up to.
We should sell it at our store. We can talk offline, but your book would be perfect.
Yay.
Um, it's really moving. And I do want to comment, not that I like speaking for other people, but I can guarantee you everybody can relate to what you're talking about. We all know, we knew before the pandemic, but if we were forgetting, that got reminded to us that this culture is a lonely one, and we can have such incredibly high highs, so much stimulation, so much excitement, especially when there's humans involved. But the contrast between daily tasks and the fact that, we were not built to do multitasking, much less to have this amount of information bombarded every single day. So if you're old enough to remember the other century, like when you were multitasking, when you were really busy, you were doing that, then you were doing that, then you were doing, there was like no back and forth thing. And so it's just it's interesting. I'm going to just officially invite you to stay in this space because I don't think you can ever finish this work.